Jamie's too hot in here. Turn the AC up. Crank that bitch. Get it down to 0. No, I'm just kidding. My man, what's happening, baby? Welcome back.
Hey,
Dude, you brought notes.
Yeah, just a couple of notes. I don't want to repeat myself since the last time because...
Oh, you're the only guest ever in the history of this podcast that has brought notes to make sure they don't repeat themselves.
Yes, this is the first time I do a podcast this like, or any other interview. I never go programmed or premeditated or prepared whatsoever. Just jump in. But I think this is much more important. It's Joe Rogan, man. And
you're the Iceman, man.
Yes, and you're a big window. And I'm still on the mission, trying to get it out to everybody that we are able to do so much more. And, it's all natural what we do. So there is no money attached to it. And thus, it's a struggle to get it out there. But we get more and more scientific evidence piling up. And I'm here to present new insights.
Well, I think that you're winning the struggle for sure, because I hear about you all the time. I hear about you all the time from people that have heard about you from my podcast, from people that say, do you know this guy? And I say, yeah, he's been on my podcast. I know him. So the message is getting out 100%.
Wow. And that's a bioparameter for me. Thanks for sharing that. I will
Do
take
you feel
that.
it, though? Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You must, right?
This morning I was talking to Tony Robbins.
Oh, shit.
And he wants to, cooperate.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and now I'm with Joe again. I mean, those are big names. And
I used to listen to Tony Robbins tapes when I was 20 or 21, when I was a struggling stand-up comedian. I used to listen to his, what was it called? Unlimited Power? Is that what it was? It was an audio cassette. And I listened to it, one of those old school Walkman things. Those big, chunky things.
Yeah. And he's got his goal, charity, to get 100 million meals together this year, and I'm going to help him there.
Oh, that's great. What is he doing to that? Just raising money and awareness?
Raising money and give billionaires, some very powerful people a very good time, insights in their own stressful lives. And I'm in there to teach them how to handle stress hormone at the deepest in the brain as in the body.
Beautiful. You know, I had a friend of mine who was trying to do a parody on Tony Robbins, so he went and researched him. And he was going to listen to some of his recordings, listen to some of his speeches, and his goal was to find what's stupid about it. And then he started going, God damn, this guy's onto something. Was it Callan? Do you remember who it was? They were talked about it in here. I believe it was Callan. I think he was researching him for something that he was doing. And then along the way, he started realizing, this guy is fucking legit.
Yeah.
But he's one of the rare ones. Like, almost everyone that's like a professional motivator, then you go behind, you go, okay, well, what do you do? You know, what do? You just motivate people? Have you done anything? Like, you're telling people they can go do things, but what the fuck have you done? What have you done, sir? And most of them, they don't do shit. You know, they just get together with big seminars. They tell people they can do it. You can do it. Like, fuck, I can do it now. But you never go, hey, man, what have you done? On the other hand, you've done a lot of shit. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. When people say, well, that Iceman Hof guy, is he legit? I'm like, bitch, do you have Wikipedia? Mm-hmm. Do you Google?
Mm-hmm. We love the life. And coming January, we're going to do Kilimanjaro again in 24 hours.
Man, you already offered that up to me. It's not fucking happening.
You should.
Not going to Kilimanjaro.
Hey, man, kill a Manjaro. It is almost,
rooting you on from afar, from Los Angeles while watching television. I'll be live tweeting it.
Yeah, right on. We are doing scientific research and show that the red cell generation can be accelerated. If it is so, in those circumstances, then science has to update itself.
What are the circumstances where their cells can be regenerated?
It's like in 24 hours, the body is not able to adapt to the circumstances where there is a lack of oxygen. It is half the oxygen and less. And we go.
What's the altitude on Kilimanjaro?
Is 20,000 feet at the top. So at say 15,000 feet, the acclimatization, the adaptation is not as fast in human bodies. Now we found this breathing techniques and using the mind, and that enables us to accelerate that what science is thinking that it is arranged autonomically. So outside of our will, and we cannot interfere, we cannot intervene. So we will show that with like 30 people. By the way, past January, I did it with a person, 76 years old, without prior mountaineering experience, and he did it in 44 hours. 76, huh?
Wow,
I mean,
that's a robust 76-year-old. He's dead now, but he was a good guy while he lasted.
Yes, so
his
it
candle
was.
burned brightly for that last couple of days.
His old life is dead. He really transformed, man.
So let me ask you this. So the standard model of what someone can do as far as how much red blood cells they can generate is observed, and they thought that it was at 15,000 feet, it became too difficult. But you've shown that with your exercises and with your deep breathing techniques that you can actually accelerate red blood cell count consciously, or at least not consciously,
Yes.
you're through conscious action.
Conscious action using the breath.
And
Boom.
what techniques are you using? The same?
What we did last time, but then adapted to while you are walking. And when, first sign of AMS, lack of oxygen in the head, means headache. AMS is acute mountain sickness. And the first sign is headache. And that means a lack of oxygen inside the brain. Normally, we are not able to get oxygen then at that moment inside the brain to equal the balance, the disbalance, the lack of oxygen. And I've learned just to do that. So we tackle the problem and keep on able to perform in the extreme conditions even.
So through this technique of taking these enormous deep breaths, letting some of it out, and then trying to refill, and then letting some of it out, trying to refill, letting some of it out.
Yes.
And then you're forcing your body you're forcing your lungs to constantly carry air.
Yes. That it is. We use the lungs as the passageway, but it gets into the lymphatic system. It gets into the tissue. You know what we just found with the university in Germany? They found out that the devices that show that we have 100% blood saturation, oxygen in the blood, is not 100%. We go more. They found it out for the first time.
So what they thought was 100% blood saturation, there's actually a higher level above that?
Yes. And that's what I always said. But now it's like proven.
So what they thought was 100% blood saturation was just based on what people normally do with no extra techniques involved, right? Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Based on that, they made devices. And then 100% saturation in the blood is 100%. And then you should be like sane. But now we got this professor, a biochemical professor, and whatever his name is, Mesquite, doesn't matter, Professor Mesquite. And he's
give him a name, fuck it.
Yeah.
Call him Oak.
Like
Professor
mosquito. What a name, Professor Mosquito. Yeah, Professor Fly, Professor Mosquito. This is a biochemical professor. And he tells, looking at the results, what you have produced with the university, regarding to the immune system and influencing into the autonomic nervous system, we can say you guys have found a way to tap into the tissue, into the lymphatic system, and take away the acidity over there. And the storage capacity of the lymphatic system, that deeper level than the blood, is actually a storage capacity to have chemistry which is wrong, stored up over there, so it doesn't mess with the rest of the physiology to maintain functionality. So, but in time, you got to deal with it. It's like garbage. And that garbage, we could not tap into that.
I'm so confused. So
Yes.
What is that garbage?
The garbage is wrong chemistry, like an acidic state of chemistry in the lymphatic system as well.
Right. Do they know what that? I mean, have they isolated that? Is that an actual compound? Can they tell you what it is that they're monitoring?
Yes. It's actually that acidity chronically there, not being dealt with. This professor, my biomedical professor, tells us that 95% of the autoimmune diseases are caused because of it.
So 95% of autoimmune diseases are caused by some sort of acidity?
A long time presence of acidity not being dealt with will deal with you in the end. And deregulate, say, the chemistry in the rest of the body, the biochemical processes. Actually, this is quite logical. But and he knew that. But then we came up with this.
What is the cause of this acidity? Is it diet-based? Is it stress-based? Is it all the above?
Yes, anything that is stress. Too much we can handle.
So diet, like inflammation stress, just stress as far as pressure,
daily stress,
daily life.
Any stress we are not able to deal with will be translated into chemistry. And as you are not dealing with it, it will be stored.
I'm going to stop you right here because for a lot of people that are listening to this, they're like, what the fuck is Joe Rogan doing on this podcast? What the hell is this about? You are very unique in that your claims are incredibly unusual but substantiated by science. And this is not, it's not woo-woo science. This is real, legitimate researchers have, they injected you with, what was it they injected you with?
With an E. coli bacteria, an endotoxemia.
An endotoxin, and then they monitored your immune system and saw that you could actively force your immune system to fight off this injection.
Very specifically within a quarter of an hour.
And this is something they did not think was possible until you performed this.
Exactly. They saw that I was influencing into the so-called autonomic nervous system.
And then for people that did not hear the first podcast, you have achieved, I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, 26 world records?
Yes, 26.
Including you have the longest time of holding your breath and swimming under ocean ice too, right?
Yes, ocean ice. Have been swimming too.
In fucking incredibly cold water where salt water freezes over, right?
Yes, yes.
And you ran marathons basically in your underwear.
Yes, in the shorts, they say beyond the polar circle in midwinter.
Yeah, beyond the
polar circle. As well as in the desert without drinking.
Yes.
No meter of training because I don't like running too much. I just do it, I just do it. It's like when your house is on fire, you run fast.
Right.
You don't need to train, therefore.
Right.
And so I know how to tap into this adrenaline system, the axis in the brainstem, the reptilian mode. I've learned that.
Well, I have a lot of friends that have followed your course now. My good friend Denny apparently was just with you this past weekend in San Francisco. Denny Propacos. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion.
Oh, yeah.
And a good friend of mine and a really interesting guy. He loves your stuff. And he's fascinated by it. I know a lot of other people that are fascinated by it, too. A lot of people that I know that are taking your course and trying your stuff since the last time you were on. So anybody who's listening to this podcast for the first time, you might want to go back and listen to the first one. And we go into great detail about all of the different accomplishments that you've made with your method, the Wim Hof breathing method. So in case you're listening to this for the first time, you're like, what the fuck is this? That
it is.
Legit.
It's legit and legend. So
legit, yeah.
And legit, and we are legends.
Yes.
Legendary because we go past perceived limits. We go past the fear. And what we perceive as being possible, we go past it because we pioneer. We go past our fear created by our conditioning, whatever we think is possible. And we do not dare to go past that.
Well, it's funny that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's funny that you're teaming up with Anthony Robbins because you hear that Anthony Robbins loves to do those walking on fire things. But lately it's been causing problems because people pause in the middle to take selfies. And then they want to burn their feet. Fucking silly people. It's so silly. But we had Michael Shermer on, who's a noted skeptic and a very, very intelligent man. And he explained what it is that, the coals are a very poor conductor of heat. That's why you don't cook right on coals. You use metal. Metal's a great conductor of heat. You put the metal over the coals, the metal gets heated up by the coals, and that sears your food. You don't cook on coals themselves because it doesn't really transmit heat that well. That's why you can, for 10 seconds or so, you can walk over them real quick and you don't really get that burned. Unless you pause for selfies.
Yes. I mean, go back to nature, and then you see before we wore shoes, actually ridiculous things. But we invented them, and now we think with shiny shoes we are so much more beautiful, etc. But
shoes do look good, though.
Yeah,
nice,
okay.
Nice
I like shoes too, and they're colorful shoes and all that. Very nice. But sometimes. Moreover, because of all these devices, radiation, we get into the nervous system and we charge it with negative ions. And for that, any electricity, you need to ground if you got big charge. So it accumulates in the body, and therefore I suggest people walk sometimes just inside of nature, not all day, but release those negative ions.
I gotta write something down because I keep forgetting it. Is that true though? Like as far as negative ions and doing negative
grounding.
things to your body, have they ever found any correlation between the use of electronics and negative aspects?
I just feel so.
You think so?
I always go by my intuition, and I hear things, etc. I want to prove it. But I feel a lot better doing this. I'm going to do the Kilimanjaro, by the way, on barefoot.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. And like some challenge.
I have a friend of mine who went to Bolivia. He filmed, he has a television show called Meat Eater. His name's Steve Ranella. He's a professional hunter. And he went to Bolivia and he lived with the Chumani for a couple weeks. And they brought them shoes like, hey, try these shoes on. They didn't want to have nothing to do with those shoes. They're like, get those stupid things out of here. Because those people walk barefoot everywhere. And their feet, he said their feet don't look like anybody's feet. He's like, they're all splayed out, like their toes are splayed out, and there's like a thick padding underneath, where they basically have their own shoes. Like the calluses in the bottom of their feet act as shoes.
Hey, that doesn't sound too attractive for me to have,
Too attractive?
But, I mean, to have feet like heart. No, what I do is using my mind.
So you don't want to have like calluses in the bottom of your feet?
No. I got very soft baby feet.
Do you really?
Yeah. My wife always tells, hey, it's a softy feet. How come? You're a man.
So you
yeah, man.
You're a man.
Yeah.
So you are going to do this barefoot. Are you going to wear ice shoes, Elise?
No. Nothing like that. And,
so your
challenge is to go, once again, mind over matter.
But what about frostbite?
I did the half marathon barefoot.
You did?
Beyond the polar circles in temperatures even far more below than the Kilimanjaro is in.
Do you think
that's possible?
There's any benefit from the fact that you're walking so much or running and then your body's heating up and maybe that has a positive effect on your skin?
The thing is, I'm very able to go in, to tap into the hormonal system, creating adrenaline. You know this fact where people sometimes refer to, they lift up a mother because a child is underneath. That actually is the mind steering directly into the reptilian mode, the reptilian brain, which is the primitive brain, and there you have direct access to pure adrenaline. Makes you able to do almost inconceivable feats and accomplish it. Only you need the right trigger. Now, because I have been so much into the cold is a real force impact upon you. So you need to learn how to connect with your mind and your breathing into the brainstem, into this adrenaline, to withstand this force, the cold impact. I've learned it.
So you're tapping into your brain, you're causing your body to produce more adrenaline, and you're focusing on the areas of your body that are contacting the snow. Like you're focusing on the bottom of your feet?
Yes. And it works. I'm still able to look around, how nice the sunset or the sunrise. and B. So there is a margin even therein. We just need to go back to belief. And belief therein means the neurotransmitters and the neurons. Those are signals and charges. So if you charge your body, then you are able to influence up till DNA level. And we have proven this already with the IL-6 interleukins, those connected to, say, inflammation. We could not fend it off. We could not suppress the cytokines, the inflammatory markers. And we showed very effectively, not me only, a whole group of persons, which I trained just in 4 days, to be able to go into the DNA and create the right chemistry consciously by breathing and using the mind to fend off inflammatory markers caused by, say, bacteria inside. So we are actually able to tap into the deepest of ours, have control over adrenaline, stress hormone, and go up to not only in the deepest part of the brain, but also in the DNA. And I got interesting things.
So
therein
let me ask you,
since the last time.
I believe you. You got a pile of notes.
Yeah.
What is it about breathing? What is it about breathing, or is breathing just one component of this? Is it breathing and also focusing on what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, focus absolutely works. Let me explain a little about breathing. Breathing is chemistry. Oxygen is chemistry in the body. So if you are able to oxygenize the cells more than we do normally, because we talked about the lymphatic system and the tissue, and actually the body is able to store up more oxygen than the 100% we presumed possible. Scientifically, we are able to store up more oxygen. So if a breathing technique, whatever breathing technique, is able to store up more oxygen in the cell, that means going into the tissue, going into the lymphatic system, then suddenly the chemistry becomes alkaline. The acid gets out of the body at will. And then the mind is positive, little electrical charges, neurotransmitters, and they are suddenly able to connect in the body, and enabling you to have control, direct all the systems in the body. That's the way nature meant it to be. So the mind's condition to be effective in the body is making the body by breath, the right breathing, profound breathing, in an alkaline state. Then these electrical signals are able to travel throughout, and the way nature meant it to be is that we are able to direct any part of the body. So the immune system, endocrine system, the lymphatic system, vascular, all the systems. We told a little bit last time, but I got more direct evidence now. And right now we are working with the universities on the brain, on, say, emotional reactivity, and they see incredible things that we actually are able to get in those places where emotion exists. And we think, yeah, emotion, where is it? Where is it? But it is translated also as something chemical.
So they can measure emotion in the chemical form?
Yes.
What are they measuring?
They go into, say, the hypothalamus. Mm-hmm. Hypothalamus, hippocampus, amygdala. Those are the places where this chemistry is going on. And we had no way to get into that. Now, if you are able to oxygenize those parts and to pressurize with breathing techniques into those parts, then suddenly you begin to cry. Why? Because the chemistry is changing. You are dealing with the chemistry which was stored up because you couldn't work it out before. And now you are able to tap in there, change the chemistry, and that's the function. You are not able to deal with it now. So later when you have peace and you are somewhere not stressful, then work on it. And breathing does it. It positively influences the chemistry in the depth of the brain. You know what happens? You create 25% more blood flow. and blood flow is with oxygen.
Through your breathing.
Yes.
Well, it makes sense because your blood is it's carrying oxygen, right? So the more oxygen you provide your blood, and you are definitely providing it more with these big, long, deep breaths and these techniques that you pursue.
Yes, manipulating up the spine, the central nervous system, up till the tunnel of the light, the brainstem is at top. So if you pressurize after inhaling, exhaling, like we did last time, you did about 3 minutes almost without air in the lungs. Very good. First round is very promising for the next rounds because you get more and more oxygen. It's only to show that you are able to store up oxygen far more than you ever used before. So in case when you need it to regulate the chemistry inside the body, then it needs oxygen. Then we are all able with these breathing exercises to get it anywhere where the chemistry is messed up. And a chemistry messed up will send off a signal, but we are mostly not listening because we got worries and we need to do the deadline and this and that. So we are not, and then this chemistry stays over there and will deregulate the system. And then we become sick and we don't know what's happening. We go to the doctor and or the psychiatrist because we could become depressed and all. But we are very able to get into any place in the body, and in this case, the brain, where and we do all these studies now with the university. They say cognitive therapy, just talking to each other in the psychology and psychotherapy, that's not enough. That was a conference with 200 experts, and they did this breathing. And then they said, wow, talking only is not enough. But if you do this breathing, then you really get into the brain. And then suddenly you get a sense of control.
Because you're creating this extra circulation of blood.
Yes. Together with oxygen, making it alkaline. Then suddenly the blockage is created because of wrong chemistry, because of trauma, or anxiety, or grief. Then suddenly that chemistry is being dealt with, and you get balance. Simple. And we keep it simple and try to get this web of our thoughts, thinking of so many difficulties and complications. What is emotion? What is fear? What is PTSD? What is trauma? What is depression? We don't know where it is in the brain. Just get all the brain full of oxygen, get the alkalinity up, and you are able to steer by going through the spine, up in your head, and do it all.
Is that why some studies have shown that rigorous exercise, particularly cardio, like running, elliptical machines, things along like those lines, are just as good for depression as medication?
Absolutely. It's dealing with the oxygen tension.
And forcing, when you think those giant deep breaths you take when you're jogging or something.
Yes, and when you do those things, you actually create the body to be effective with the oxygen. Then suddenly different mechanisms are at work, more oxygen is coming in, and the chemistry is balancing out. Depression is caused by wrong chemistry creating inflammation.
I'm a regular exerciser, but sometimes I just get real busy and I take a couple of days off, and sometimes I take a couple of days off and I just don't feel right. I'm not a self-indulgent person, but sometimes I'll just feel like, God, I just feel kind of shitty today or whatever. And then I force myself to exercise. I go, look, I'm going to get up an hour early, or I'm going to do whatever I have to do, and I'm going to, before I go to bed, whatever it is, I'm going to make sure like the day will not end until I exercise. And when I do, all it goes away.
Yeah.
All the feelings go away. It's like I have a new brain. Yeah. It's like I leave there, I'm smiling, I'm laughing. It seems like everything's just beautiful again.
And that's you.
And and I'm the same person.
Very good.
Like, it's also like my life is the same. Like, not that my life is bad in any way. My life is fantastic. It's all great stuff. But just being a person. Sometimes being a person is overwhelming. You're tired. You have a lot of obligations. There's a lot on your plate. There's a lot of things going on. And sometimes it's overwhelming. Sometimes you just feel down. you know, and I have a good life. It's a fun life. If I didn't have a fun life and that happened, it would just be compounding all the other issues that I have. Now, tack on that if I was overweight. Tack on that if I was hooked on pills, you know, or I was an alcoholic or cigarette smoking or one of the other things that are really terrible for you that so many people suffer from. If all those things, you don't think, I think there's so many people that think of depression or bad states of mind as being just something that a hand that you're dealt. And I don't necessarily think it's the case with everybody because I don't know how everybody's mind works, but I know certainly from my mind, I can absolutely regulate those ups and downs based on rigorous exercise. And it doesn't have to be lifting weights or CrossFit or jiu-jitsu or anything crazy. Just go walk up a hill. Just go hike. You go hike, you take those big deep breaths, you get to the top of that hill, and you fucking feel great.
Yeah, very good. So I can do that too.
I know you could do it. You do it in your underwear.
Yeah.
On
Things
a mountain,
like that.
covered with snow.
Yes, go to the extreme and show that it is all possible, even in the most extreme conditions.
Yeah.
Now I'm at the knocking at the door of science, and I feel I'm able to help.
Well, science is very much interested in what you're doing.
Yes, they do. The scientific community embrace this, but now I feel, hey man, I'm able actually to help human mankind.
Well, it's so extraordinary that one person has this kind of influence. I mean, I hope you realize what a service you're providing to people, because
you too, bringing awareness.
Well, thank you. But all I'm doing is just talking to someone who's awesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty easy. But this thing that you've done, you would think that other people would have figured it out. And that's what I find most fascinating about you. I would have thought that last time you were here. I mean, it's hard to believe there are so few people that have done what you've done or figured out what you've figured out. And then even more unusual what you've done is you've gone to scientists and you said, hey, I think I'm onto something. Please study me. Like, please study what I'm doing, and you got people to listen to you. By accomplishing all these incredible feats, they go, well, this guy obviously is doing something. I mean, who the fuck can swim 100 yards under frozen ice in one breath? Who the fuck is running marathons and barefoot above the polar circle? All this shit that you're doing, it's wonderful. You're forcing people to acknowledge the fact that something extraordinary is going on.
So it is. And, we got big problems and issues with people with PTSD, depression, trauma, fear, anxiety in general. It's all stress hormone. And now using developing a method and finding it out, because I was in this quest to go deeper within myself, finding the cold as the right teacher to bring me into the depth of my physiology, finally finding the way nature meant me to be, to feel strong and in control of myself. I brought this now to science, and now it is a matter of time that we will resolve what we have lost, the connection with the depth of ourselves. And that means for people, maybe not for you, because you are able to handle your mood and your physical strength and your health. That's good. But for those who have PTSD, trauma, anxiety, fear, depression, autoimmune diseases, cancer, all these things, I think nature knows. And I found these keys in nature. I just bring it to the science, and we forgot about the nature. This is where I'm made a couple of notes, and I think if we are able not only to show that the autonomic nervous system, the hormonal system, the immune system can be influenced deeply, that means hormonal system, that is the melatonin, serotonin, dopamine, any feel-good hormone within us, and the ability to tap into that system and create those hormones when necessary. When you feel bad, you just get a shot naturally by breathing and believing of the right hormones, and you feel great. Okay, and then you got the strength, which is also based on hormones. hormonal secretions like adrenaline, epinephrine, cortisol, those. And we showed people lying in bed, as I told last time, in bed producing more adrenaline, controlled stress hormone, than somebody going into in fear, going into its first bungee jump. That means controlled stress hormone, adrenaline. Adrenaline, which is controlled, is stress hormone, works like a medicine anytime. It brings you back to the way nature made us most effective in situations of danger. That could be cold, extreme cold, heat. It could be being predated by the lycanthrope, like the werewolves, or yes,
Yeah.
real. And
Real werewolves?
Yeah, I think in society there are werewolves even bigger than the one I saw here.
What do you think is a werewolf?
big sharks.
You're using an analogy. Obviously, you don't think that people really turn to wolves. You think
No,
mean-
not really. Only in Hollywood,
Right.
And lycanthropes and all that. Yeah,
Yes.
very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice. I like him. I just already made a picture, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. And that that's the strength part, and then you get the health part. That's the immune system and all its layers.
Well, let me ask you this, because adrenaline
Yes.
with fighting is considered to be a very dangerous thing to manage, because there's a thing called an adrenaline dump that happens to a lot of fighters, where they get so worked up, they're so jazzed up before a fight, and then they're in the fight, and then somewhere around the first round, the adrenaline goes away, and they have this dump, and they get exhausted.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It's called adrenaline dump, and it happens. I mean, they're under extreme stressful situations, and guys gas out. They get very tired very quickly, and a lot of them talk about it. They say,
Sure.
I couldn't believe how tired I got, and it's attributed to adrenaline.
Yes, but that then is no control over the adrenaline flow.
So So they allow it to run away from them. It's like that old expression. Do you remember there's a very famous Customato expression. Customato was the guy who trained Mike Tyson. He said, "Fire can be your friend or it can be your enemy. It can cook your food or it can burn your house down. It depends on how you control it."
It's all very interesting. The fighting modus of ours, which is related to the fight modus: fight, flight, food, freeze, and fuck. That's the brainstem. Yes, it's all the same energy. It's all the same energy.
Really?
Procreation, protect your children, food.
Primal.
Is primal. Those primal forces are directly related to adrenaline. And we lost control thereover because we lost a deeper connection with that system within our brain, the brainstem. And therefore, we do not know how to handle danger anymore as such. And danger is not only cold and heat and oxygen deprived situations like Mount Everest or something, but also daily stress.
It's
grief.
also things that carry with them extreme consequences.
Yes.
Where you get nervous and you get freaked out.
Yes.
And I think that's for people that aren't in situations that are very stressful. Very often, it becomes a huge issue, and they oftentimes can't control their adrenaline. They can't control their anxiety. They can't control even their own thoughts. They get tunnel vision. It's like they're in an elevator as the doors are closing shut and they can't see. Like you literally see it in fights. You see people panic.
Yeah.
And that panic does not allow them to be present, which does not allow them to perform at their very best. And they're almost always severely diminished because of that adrenaline, or because of that panic, I should say. Not necessarily the adrenaline, but the loss of management, loss of your ability to be sovereign. You're not in control anymore. It's like you're being carried away by a wave of fear.
Yes. Now, I deal with sports people.
I know you did a lot of work with Alistair Overeem.
Yeah, and many more. And in general, when they do the breathing exercises and the cold exposures, they become just more energetic, and they have a lot more connection with their own body, creating confidence. within themselves, and then they are able to build up this connection, mind-body. And then, their cardio increases, their tranquility increases.
Well, you had some great results with Alistair. Let me tell you that, because he was on a downward spiral before he started working with you.
He's going to come to Kilimanjaro too, because I need to train him again. I think he lost track a little bit on the breathing exercises, and he thought he was already there. I think that's my opinion. And I talked to. I will. We will go to the Kilimanjaro. I will say, listen, here you have to breathe. Here you will understand the significance of breathing, and not to take it too lightly. Go back into yourself and do not think you are there. Be there. And the mountain, the Mother Nature will show you. It's not me. I just know to abide by the laws of Mother Nature. And that's why I do these feats there. And it makes me able to adapt very rapidly to changes in like cold, heat, oxygen deprived situations, anything. It's there. And Mother Nature will teach him.
Why do you think that he stopped doing it? Like, what gives you that indication?
There's a certain moment people think, I can control it. I can do it. And I'm in a positive spiral going up and it's all okay. And then they leave this connection and then they fall back in the old patterns, the old neurology, the old conditioning.
So they require daily practice.
Until it's really mastered. So, I mean, it takes how many years it takes to condition your body? Really, to become really so good to be in, say, K1 and MMA at the top, it takes years to build that up. But still, there you will compete with people who also condition their bodies.
Right.
So it's an equal thing going up. And what makes the difference? That's the connection of your mind with your body, of your brainstem with your conscious will and the body controlling the adrenaline. Not only, also epinephrine, noradrenaline, dopamine, anything.
Now, when you're watching someone like Alistair fight, and he just fought for the UFC heavyweight title and came very close to winning a couple times in that first round and wound up losing, what makes you think that breathing could have helped him in that? Because he almost won the fight. He almost knocked Stipe out. He almost caught him in a guillotine choke. I mean, and he had Stipe in a lot of trouble on 2 separate occasions. Then Stipe caught him and knocked him out. What makes you think that breathing would have helped him there?
Breathing brings in oxygen. Oxygen makes the body alkaline. The nervous system, that is a nervous system, goes better when it is alkaline. The swiftness of neurotransmitters, acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter in the brain, makes the body like react like Bruce Lee things.
What is that word again? Say that word again.
Acetylcholine. Choline. Acetylcholine.
Acetylcholine?
Yes.
Okay.
And if yes, what I do all the time with people,
right,
or women who are not able to do push-ups, I make them do the breathing, influence muscle tissue, making it alkaline, so the neurotransmitter, the performance neurotransmitter, suddenly is able to keep on because it's not becoming acidic.
When you say acidic and alkaline, what are you measuring? Are you measuring blood? Are you measuring
muscle tissue?
How are they doing
myoglobin? You can, but with a simple pH strip, you can show yourself, say, before a fight.
And who's doing these tests? Scientists are doing these tests?
Yes. That's what we just completed new studies with 48 people. And it showed that all the people got to very, very high alkaline levels in the blood. Like 7.8.
What's normal?
7.3, 7.4 is natural.
And then you got all the way up to 7.8.
And then it comes back and it stays over there for all the day long. And that's what you want. But most of the people are acidic. If you pee on it, and then you will see with a pH strip, yellow to blue and green in the middle and all these variations, then you see most of the people are just yellow in the morning. And they do the breathing 20 minutes and they become blue. Boom. Mm. And that's where you want to have it, because the neurotransmitters, the electrical signals in the body, they travel a lot faster when it's alkaline. So your same punch will be faster if it is alkaline than when it's acidic. And actually, it's illogical. If I'm going to train with this and become acidic at a certain moment, I get to my limit, then I'm not punching as fast than when I'm alkaline. It's all in the muscle, and we are able to influence therein. So he wasn't too much in the breathing anymore.
Did he tell you this?
No, I saw it.
How could you tell?
I measured it before. I was in this room, and I tested him. Hey, how is your breathing, and how is your retentions? Like what you did 2.5 minutes the first round, you remember? Mm-hmm. That means you store up oxygen in the body, and therefore you have no need for breathing.
Right.
And you were just measuring that. So,
do you think any of that had to do with the stress of fighting for the first time for the UFC title?
No, he was over too confident.
Really? You think he was too confident?
Too confident.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, because I saw his psych.
Yeah, but it didn't seem that way to me. As a trained observer, I felt he was dealing with a lot of anxiety, because especially the way he was fighting. He literally was running at certain points in the fight.
So I was there.
Yeah.
I saw you there in the ring. I was somewhere on the stairs. Somewhere.
No, I know. I'm just saying, when I look at that and I look at the way he was performing, he wasn't performing the way he performed against Junior Dos Santos.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's because, and that's what I think, with all the respect for over him, I love him, but he's a good guy, but Mother Nature knows better. And I know Mother Nature. So I saw he needs to get back to this breathing. Get back to making it alkaline therein and keeping it on until the conditioning, the old patterns go away.
So do you think he got tired? What do you think happened there?
Yes.
But what about him getting hit? Because he got hit.
Yeah.
I mean, he went for...
anything. You are not able to receive blows as good. Mm. A chemistry which is low in pH level is if you are acidic, then you are.
I understand that.
Less able to receive.
But Stipe Miocic, the UFC heavyweight champion, is 250 pounds of meat. He's a scary dude, and he hits very hard. And he's very accurate, and there's not a whole lot of people that he punches in the face that don't get knocked out. And the way he was hitting Alistair, I have a hard time believing that anything would have saved him, whether it's breathing or anything. He was getting cracked by one of the best fighters in the world.
Yes, of course.
Right.
It's good. But I'm not into increasing the performance of any sportsman. I do that at the side. But I want to draw the attention for people who are suffering in the world.
No, I understand that.
That's
but
where I am.
I'm talking about this moment in specific. Yes. Why did you think that his lack of breathing or whatever had an effect on it? Did you feel like he got tired too quickly? Did you notice him diminishing, his energy levels dropping? Like what did you see that made you believe that he was not doing the breathing properly?
It's not only of that day, Mm-hmm. It's a whole process.
Right.
So if you are at a top like that, at the most of the fighting levels of this world, then you got to work your body. You got to condition your body. And that you do with the right breathing exercises, along with the fighting and the conditioning and the muscle training and all. And if it is not there, then you can have the muscles of the world, but very soon you will be exhausted.
Now, when you work with a guy like Alistair, with all due respect to him and to you, he's been knocked out 4 times in the UFC alone. And he's been knocked out many times outside of the UFC. Do you have any concern about the amount of damage that he's taking? And do you think that in any way this kind of training and the breathing method could in some way help mitigate some of that damage he's taking?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. And I will see about him. He will come back. He will get a very good lesson of Mother Nature. And I mean, there is no... you cannot speculate about Mother Nature. You just got to perform the right way.
What do you mean by that?
24 hours getting up Kilimanjaro. That means with his weight, getting up there, that means breathing, really breathing, really getting into it, and using your mind and focus totally.
Right.
And not thinking that you are able to do it, but doing it.
One thing that does happen to fighters, though, and it happens inevitably in a fighter's career if they've taken a lot of fights where there were real wars, is they lose their ability to take a punch. It's a physiological response the brain has to the amount of punishment that you've been taking, and it knows the punishment's coming, and it shuts off prematurely. Shuts off much quicker than it did when you were younger. Mm-hmm. And in the fight game, they call it getting chinny, or his chin is gone, where you take a shot and you can see that you just can't take it anymore. And doctors take that almost universally as a sign that you should probably start thinking about hanging it up.
Yeah.
Do you see that at all in him? And are you concerned about that at all?
If I see that, I will see that in January.
So you'll see it once you take him.
Yes.
But it doesn't have anything to do with physical condition. It has more to do with punishment. It has more to do with getting hit.
Okay, I'm not so much into fighting and all this. It's all information. I just know how nature works, and I will test him. I will see it. I will observe and give my objective. I will try to help him, and I give my objective opinion therein. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, by the way, also high performance extreme athletes as well up on the mountain, but also people with conditions. Mm-hmm. And that's actually even more interesting.
Like what kind of conditions?
Like Crohn's disease and rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, and they will make it in 24 hours as well, just because of this breathing and focus.
People with rheumatoid arthritis, you can take them up Mount Kilimanjaro?
I already did. Really? I already did, yes. And they do all this program all the time, and they have zero inflammatory markers left in the body. So they control their condition, arthritis, Crohn's disease, autoimmune diseases, completely.
And how severe is their arthritis? Because people that are like really crippled and they can't walk very well, you've done that with them?
With people,
or is it up to a certain level?
I mean, if you cannot walk anymore,
right?
What do you do on the Kilimanjaro?
Right.
But
what if you can barely walk? Or what if you can walk but walk slowly? Or what if you walk but you walk in pain?
Yes, I'm into scientific research because I want to help humanity, Darren. And I know we are able to tap into the systems and begin to heal first before we go into, say, feats like that.
So you work with these people that have arthritis or Crohn's disease.
Yes, right now.
Strengthen their immune system
Scientific
first.
Research.
Lower their inflammation first.
Yes.
And how much time do you spend with them before you take them to something like extreme environment like Kilimanjaro?
I got now my instructors everywhere. So first I teach them in a session.
How many instructors do you have?
Now, how many? Is it 200?
200. Wow. All over the world?
Yeah, mostly in the Netherlands now. But now America is beginning to do the basic course, advanced module, and then we have the instructors week, and it goes up to bachelor level. The books are in the university. It's real legit all and scientifically endorsed. And there it is. It works. And it works thus for those people. And we still got to find out. Tomorrow, for example, I got a scientific sort of lecture together with Professor Huberman from Stanford University in front of IDEO. In IDEO, there comes a guy who is the Google healthcare head of it all. And he was the former man in charge of the healthcare in America, in U.S. I mean, big people. And it's not for nothing. They see it works. It doesn't work only for, say, people with arthritis, but also with depression. Is how much money
even healthy people, they'll feel better.
Yes. Preventative. increasing
Just
performance.
increasing quality of life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that is only because of a simple principle out of nature. Go back to Mother Nature inside. Go back into the depth of your own physiology and know that it is there. You are able to awaken that and get it into your control, preventing you from disease, from depression, or becoming happy, healthy.
So you're essentially, in some ways, tapping into the same force that creates the placebo effect. Because there's an effect when your mind thinks that it has a drug that's going to heal it, even if it's a sugar pill.
Yes.
You see a visible improvement on many people because of that belief.
Yeah.
So through your belief system, plus the oxygen, plus the deep breathing exercise and the increasing blood flow to the brain,
Yes.
it has all these positive benefits.
And then the cold trains, gradual cold exposure trains the transportation system. 75,000 miles of capillaries, arteries, and veins within us. They transport oxygen. There are in primitive muscles and reflexes. And when they are stimulated by cold showers, just cold showers, then the heart rate is going down. And the transportation of oxygen suddenly is a lot better, and it gets to the immune cells. Logically, the immune cells are more alert, better fed, and they recognize intruders who should not be there, and they kill them. It's like cell death, and they put a specific hormone molecule on the cell membrane, and it's gone.
Now, how long has it been since the first podcast we did? Was it 2 years?
Yeah,
a year and a half or something like that? Jamie will tell us.
A year and a half.
Jamie will tell us.
October 2015.
Oh.
October 21st. So
There you go. Basically a year. 1 year.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So what has happened in a year? What new breakthroughs or what new evidence do you have in that year?
The evidence is that people are beginning to grasp the gravity of what I found. Because 2.5 years ago, we had this published in one of the best papers of the world, the PNAS papers.
The what paper?
Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, which is highly reputed scientific magazine. It's like Nature, PNAS. And if you get in there, then it's really solid.
Mm-hmm.
So they took it up into the books, the university books, full chapter. And that's not for nothing. And that is what the new information the new physicians and biologists need to digest as being science. So it is science. And it's 2.5 years ago that we proved the autonomic nervous system, up till then never been proven in scientific history to be influenced by humans. Now, not little bit to be influenced, being able to be influenced, big time. People enabling within a quarter of an hour to tap into the specific immune system, which normally takes 5 to 7 days. So that's a big finding. I thought, wow, now the world is going to turn the other way. Now people are going to see we are able to do so much more with what we got already. I'm going to receive 10 Nobel Prizes. Something like that.
Right.
Because it is something like that.
Right.
But
takes time.
It takes time. So since last year, I see more and more and more people getting to this. And that's nice. But I want scientific validation more. Because apparently they do not really grasp within the scientific community the gravity of what we found. It's historical. It's not mine. It's of Mother Nature.
But don't you think it takes time for people and their opinions to shift when it comes to things along these lines?
Apparently, that's the psychology of the people. And I'm finding this out. I got in the beginning very frustrated. Now I begin to understand this is the way it all comes top down. And it takes some time. When Galileo found out that we are not the center of the universe, but it is the sun and we are turning around, he was first almost banned from the church and almost sentenced to death as a heretic. Things like that, And it was just a truthful new way of thinking.
Right. Well, you're not,
A
obviously
paradigm.
not experiencing that kind of resistance, right? Well, you were experiencing
No,
any resistance?
no.
Not really. I mean,
No,
you seem universally praised.
Yes.
It's just a matter of acceptance, meaning people actually practicing it. That's
Yes.
the issue.
I think the consequences, the positive consequences of practicing this are enormous for every person in the world, and very accessible, very effective, very fast.
I use your method before I go on stage.
Oh, really?
Yes. I started doing it. I started doing it after our podcast together. I take these big, giant, deep breaths, and I let some out, and big, giant, deep breaths, and I let some out, and I do it for several minutes before my shows, and I feel like I'm high. Like I'm just filled with everything. Like, whoa, I just feel crazy pumped up.
Good. That enables you to get direct access, better access to your adrenaline, the hormonal system. And
It gives me, that breathing in like that, it gives me energy. It gives me, it elevates me. I feel like it elevates my energy levels.
Thanks for taking it on. Thanks for having me last year, this year. And I'm into ongoing research right now with the German universities.
What do you got going on there? What's happening?
We found out first time in scientific history now, and not me, the university, doing this. I
was worried that it got on the machinery.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
So for the first time in scientific history, they found out that 100% saturation or oxygen in the blood is not really 100%.
Right, but what?
We got
I don't understand that.
We got a
there's
lot more.
nothing more than 100%, right? So, did they
but
just
that's
not
an
understand?
assumption.
So they had a level that they thought was 100%.
That is.
And they said, well, nobody has ever reached a higher level than this, so this must be what 100% saturation looks like.
Exactly.
So it's not that you got more than 100% saturation; it's you achieved higher levels of saturation than they thought possible. Is that a better way of describing it?
Exactly. And they did it with a laser on the chest, and then you are able to measure the mitochondrial oxygen tension. Mitochondria, electrical little factories in the cell.
The engines of the cell.
The engines of the cell. They are able to receive more oxygen, and that's very interesting. And that's a great finding. I mean, more than 100%, first time in the history. That's a great finding, I think. And it shows that we are able to have more oxygen inside. Suddenly, we are able to get into the cell, influence the energy production, the ATP. Those are molecules. And if it is anaerobic, then it's like 2 molecules able to produce. When it becomes aerobic, then it's up to 38 molecules that it can produce. That is energy. And we are able to produce more oxygen. What happens? What happens with a cell that is deprived for 48 hours of 35% less oxygen? It becomes cancerous.
Really?
Yes, sir. And as simple as that.
Have you ever worked with cancer patients?
I want to now with the universities, but it's very, a very difficult, complicated matter, and everybody thinks it's not able to be questioned or researched.
Well, it's also imperative that these people get medication because their life's on the line. They could die. They don't want to take a chance.
$200,000 a year. Those are good clients.
What's $200,000? Oh, the cancer patients.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you think that there's an issue where they don't want to lose that money?
What do you think?
Well, maybe, but don't you think there's some patients out there, some who have autonomous control of their?
I got one. One guy who just gave me a book, big book. What is his name? I just gave the book to the professor, and he cured from terminal cancer. I met him in 2007. He had stage 4 cancer.
What kind of cancer?
Skin cancer, which deteriorates your all the skin, and then you're gone. You're not able to function, and it's over. And he was in stage 4, so almost a terminal.
Right.
And I met him in 2007 then. And I told them, listen, what the science is telling you, that it's not really what really is. It is only what has been found up till now.
Right.
So I found that the autonomic nervous system, for example, can be influenced, the endocrine system, the immune system. What else and what more? Don't yield.
Don't yield.
Get on. And positive thinking therein, these positive charges, that's one. But breathing. And now it appears to be that 48 hours, 35% less of oxygen in a cell makes a cell cancerous. So what I told you just now, that the molecules, we can influence that the engines of the cell and make much more molecules by implementing, but just by breathing good. Breathing and believing.
Do you think that it would benefit people that are already under cancer treatment? Like if they're already taking chemotherapy or radiation? Yeah.
The chemo actually works better if you do the breathing techniques.
Why is that?
It goes more specifically into that area. Boom.
But chemo is essentially poison, right?
Yes, it is. And if I'm going to drink here, by the way, another little bit would not be bad. Yeah, my son is saying, no, don't do that.
Oh, he doesn't want you to
wait.
You listen to your
I got
kids.
some control. Yeah,
you made him. Tell him to fuck off.
Yeah. If I could do that.
Cheers.
Sometimes. Yeah, the story goes like this with my son. I was in Africa. And on the Kilimanjaro. Then after I did a successful attempt in 28 hours and in shorts and everything, got to tell something about Scott Carney too, an investigative journalist who came to get me disguised as a guru and with lies and everything.
He disguised?
I know. Yeah, he wanted to do. He's an investigative journalist, an anthropologist, and he came to Poland to see who I am for real. He is into finding out how the organ trafficking goes and these gurus who make people do things.
He thought you were one of those?
Yes.
Why did he think that?
Because he was paid to get to me.
Somebody paid him?
Yes, sir.
Who paid him?
His editor is the guy who's publishing his books.
Okay.
And he made a new book lately. But he came to Poland, and 2 days later, he was doing the same shit I'm doing.
Well, also
outside,
on the outside, though,
yes.
People do see someone like you that makes all these crazy claims and talks about love and breathing and go, oh, this guy's
he's trying
to fuck everybody's wives and make a lot of money.
No. Just I'm very.
I know, but that's you.
Yes.
I know you're legitimate. I know you are. But there's a lot of people, like you can understand why he would think that a lot of people who make these grand claims turn out to be, there's a lot of people that can claim miracle claims, and they're usually crazy, right?
Yes. So I went with this investigative journalist. Mm-hmm. He became a full adept. And
did he give up the ghost? Did he tell you what he's doing?
Yeah, totally. It took 2 days to disappear his distance and all. And then he was also in his shorts, on barefoot in the snow.
That's beautiful. What is that? What are you doing there? Karate? Just movement?
I can teach you.
You can teach me?
Maybe not. Maybe you can teach me too.
What do you want to teach me?
But I think you can teach me some techniques. But I can teach you for sure also some techniques.
Okay.
Like standing for 2 hours barefoot in the snow, in your shorts, and in the horse stance.
Yeah, you're not going to teach me that.
No?
No, I'm not doing that.
It could be.
I believe it can be done. Yeah, like if I had to do it, I feel like I could do it if I had to do it.
Yes.
Would I do it? I'm busy.
Yeah. But
I ain't got no
I
time
got
to
many
stand in my
people.
underwear for 2 days.
Yeah, man. Yeah, your underwear.
Wax on, wax off.
The laughing stock. Many people do this, and they suddenly see that they are capable of doing so much more because they begin to learn to control the acidity, that what becomes acidic in their bodies.
Right.
So the performance. And for that, I do that. So he did it, and together with me last January, he was also on the Kilimanjaro.
Do you stay friends with this guy now?
Yes. He wrote a book. That what doesn't kill you, it says. It will come out next month or something.
And it is about you?
It's mostly about what I do.
The method?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that it works. And he's a scientist and he is an anthropologist. But he is always trying out this stuff he is writing about. So we got into this, and there's a very nice book. Maybe you should. He's got a teaser on. It's very nice. But that is that.
I'd love to have him on.
Hey,
Scott Carney. Talk to him about that.
Scott Carney.
Okay. Well, let me know.
Carney.
We'll talk after the show. Let me know like when the book's going to come out.
Yes.
And I'll try to help.
There is a teaser, and you see it all.
Okay.
And,
awesome.
I think it's very. It's beautiful, and it's very good for humans, for anybody to see.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost weight very fast, and he could do now 80 push-ups without breathing. And
80 push-ups without breathing?
He was an intellectualist, yes.
He can hold his breath and do 80 push-ups.
Yes, sir.
I find that very hard to believe.
With no air in the lungs, by the way.
No what?
No air in the lungs.
No
so
air.
we do this.
So he goes down.
Breathing.
He goes down. No air in the lungs. Psh, blows out all the air, and then does 80 push-ups in a row.
Yes, sir.
I call bullshit.
Yeah, and I do it also with
I really do call bullshit. What does this guy look like?
I don't know. Maybe as wide as
you
all
gotta
this.
be a fucking savage just to be able to do 80 push-ups, period.
It's control of oxygen. You can do one push-up because you are alkaline. But if you are able to maintain the alkalinity in the body, hey, there you go.
Is there a video of this guy doing 80 push-ups with no oxygen in his lungs?
I believe him. I saw him
Okay.
do him at least 50 in my time. But he went off, and I see too many people. Mm-hmm. But I see also people with arthritis who cannot do any push-up.
Right.
And I make them do 40 push-ups in one day. Why? Because we control the inflammatory markers.
Right.
In the blood, suppressing them, and suddenly they are able, and with the extra oxygen, making it alkaline, the muscle tissue keeps on throwing these acetylcholines, the neurotransmitter, performance neurotransmitter, and they surprise themselves, astonish themselves. But
that just seems like a lot of push-ups to do with no air in your lungs. What does it say here? I could do 80 push-ups on a single breath, and I lost 7 pounds of belly fat in 70 days.
Motherfucker, there you see it.
Yeah, I need
you
to
test
see it.
him.
I need to see it. I'm not an athlete. I'm not exceptional. Listen, bitch, if you can do 80 push-ups in a single breath, that's fucking exceptional. I want to know what he's calling a push-up. If he's one of these motherfuckers.
No. Yeah. Let him.
I want to see this. I want to see. Then I call bullshit.
Okay.
Touch your chin.
Yeah.
Touch your chin. Go back up. All the way up. Lock it out.
Yeah, but then it takes about at least 2 minutes to do that. Then you ask him to
2 minutes while you're exercising.
Yeah.
At least, right?
I think I can do that. I can do that.
You can do that right now?
Yeah.
You can do 80 push-ups on a single breath?
If I would? No?
You think so?
I don't know.
Let's try it. Why don't you try it?
Yeah, you too.
Me too. I know I can't do it. I can't do 80 push-ups on a single breath. I'll tell you right now. I can't do it.
No, we don't need to prove this now.
Well, that's a good time. Now's a good time. We're doing a podcast.
We will.
Okay.
We will. We
Okay.
will. Another thing, actually, I wanted to come back because
I think you could probably do it.
I'm telling a story about my son.
Oh, that's right.
This was the original,
right.
the step.
So the guy was trying to investigate you. He thought you were a fake guru.
Yeah,
found
that's
out
all
you were
done.
legit.
And we did in 28 hours the Kilimanjaro last January in shorts. Mm-hmm. And he did it too.
Right.
So very nice and all done. But then later when we did it and accomplished, I mean, the biggest feat was the 76-year-old man doing the Kilimanjaro in 44 hours. That's it's unheard of. And he did it anyway. And with them, we had 26 other people, men, women, old, young, and we did it.
Well, how? And it's taken him 44 hours to do this climb. And
yeah.
How far is he climbing?
Up till the top.
Yeah, but I mean, like, how many miles is it? How many feet
It's
of elevation?
37 miles in 44 hours.
It's a lot of
Going
of
up.
hiking and extreme altitude, right?
Yes.
Why don't you Google what's the world record push-ups for a single breath? Turns out it's 60.
Hey, if it is 60, then we got a new world record coming up.
So, you were saying your son,
Yes.
right?
So afterwards, when we did it and accomplished it last January, I went to these natural reserves. You got the Serengeti, Arusha, Ngorongoro crater with the lions and everything. I do things with the Maasai as well.
Can I ask you this? Did you take malaria medication when you went there?
No.
Were you there when mosquitoes were around?
Yeah, so they always around.
You didn't worry about malaria?
No, they cause also inflammation. So I think I'm able to deal with that. So I take
you able
the
to
chance.
deal with malaria?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I'm open for any research and investigation. I believe in Mother Nature, and Mother Nature came to me, and I got so much field work done. I know all the tricks of Mother Nature, and what it does in the body. And we forgot about it because we never expose ourselves in Mother Nature anymore. We always take the choice of comfort.
Right.
But we actually built to be stimulated by wind, cold, heat, pressure differences, and all kinds of things. And that makes us strong, makes our immune system strong. And then bacteria, viruses, and bacteria suddenly have a lot less chance to get in and do their damage. And that is it's a fact. It's not me. It's Mother Nature within us. And that control we lost because we lost the connection. And it's very important to bring that. And I think, yes, malaria, yes, we can.
Wow.
Yeah. Not only, it's also in the books now, in the, possibly university books, possibly hope for people with HIV.
I have a friend, my friend Justin Wren. He does a lot of work with the pygmies. He works with Water For, and he builds wells in the Congo. And he's had malaria 3 times. And when he gets it, it's pretty bad. And not only does he get it, but now, because he's had it so many times, he gets it if he gets sick. So when he's in America, if he catches the flu or something like that, he also gets malaria. It's happened to him
Inflammatory
before.
markers, deregulation of the immune system.
You think you could help him?
Yes, sir.
I need to connect
Absolutely.
you to. I need to connect you to.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Before you leave, I'm going to get you his information, and I'm going to swap information with you guys. I think that'd be amazing if you could actually help him, because he's amazing. He's done amazing stuff. I mean, that guy spends months at a time.
Yeah, I can imagine. He's a
helping
pioneer.
pygmies. Oh man, yeah,
he's going past the fear like we began off. Those are the people. Those are men looking for more to develop whatever we go for as human mankind.
Yeah,
and to finally get into some love, like sharing and caring.
Right.
Tribal.
So what happened with your son?
Yes. So I went to this reserve, big Serengeti, Arusha, Ngorongoro, and there you got these big elephants, Loxodonto africana, Latin, big savanna elephants. They can go up to 7 tons of meat. So I went to a lot of these big elephants. And I lifted up their tails in the back and to see how big their asshole is.
Oh.
Wow. I saw a lot of big assholes, but my son is still the champ. And I made the phone call to him. I made the phone call. It's all about fun because I love him so much.
That's all the big joke?
But he is also very severe with me. He's like, he's sitting there very tranquil, but he can be like a wolf. Eat your heart out. Not your heart out.
Listen, I asked him to not talk during the show, and now you're egging him on. You're forcing him to defend himself. That's totally unfair.
I love him.
Big giant asshole.
He makes my business, my mission, he makes it able to happen in this world. Because I'm not of this world. I'm too much of nature. I'm so naive. But he is outlining everything with websites, of activity to people.
You're not of this world?
I mean...
you're not of the modern world, electronics. that shit. You're just not gonna. Do you have a cell phone?
Yes.
you do.
Yeah. I lose them a lot and things like that. But you know what happened with the cell phones in Finland, in Lapland, or Alaska, where they live in distance with each other? Telepathy is there. And
I mean, where there's no cell phones.
Yeah, where there is no cell phones. But since the telephone came, introduced itself over there, the people lost this ability.
What do you mean? Like in what way?
They knew every time when the neighbor is coming. They are already setting things up without seeing it with the eyes. And that's common.
What is that?
And then these cell phones came and they take it over. And we have to learn that we all have these not only physiological abilities, deeper, but also in the mind. They are beautiful things. And we are having it, us taken over by technical devices and all that. But where is the contact with our conscious contact, with our depth? Where is it? And I'm going for that.
Is there any evidence these people were really telepathic?
No, it's anecdotal,
right,
of course.
But people are full of shit. They're out there living by themselves, just doing weird shit to themselves. Out there screaming in the night, no one answers, alone, wolves howl. There was a
that's true too.
You got to take that into account. People are full of shit. There was an old television show, On the Road. Do you remember On the Road with Charles Kuralt? Is that who it was? There was a guy that used to have this television show. It was way back in the day before the internet. And I remember he had this episode on where he was talking to this guy who was a trapper, and he would live in the bush in Alaska. And he would live there and not talk to a single person for months and months at a time. And what he would say is that after a while, when he was out there by himself, he would develop this very bizarre feeling of telepathy with animals, and that he could read animals' minds. He could almost predict their behavior and movements, and he was getting signals from them that he couldn't describe. And when he would go back to the town, when he would come back after 6 months, after a couple hours or a day or so, it would go away. And he was like, whatever that thing was, when he had no contact with people, and he swore by it. But again, could be a fucking crazy dude out there, killing muskrats with a giant trap.
It's anecdotal.
Yes.
That's one. And we are social mammals, mammalian behavior, like families and things like that.
But I've read that they have found one thing that they're pretty sure that people can tell. And that is, it's very hard. There was Rupert Sheldrake's podcast he was talking about. He was saying that one thing that they have studied beyond statistical probability, it shows that when people are stared at, like say if I turn my back and you either would look down at your lap or look at the back of my head, that I could tell, or someone, maybe some people can tell, whether or not you're looking at them more than half the time. They were more accurate than guessing. And it was consistent. It was pretty consistent. It wasn't 100% of the time, but it wasn't 50-50. It was more like 70-30.
Mm-hmm. That was Rupert Sheldrake.
Yes.
Interesting things he tells, by the way.
He's an interesting guy.
You know, when the birds in say, the Second World War, getting into these milk bottles with a silver top, they learned to pick through.
Mm-hmm.
And the distance between, say, England and the Netherlands or Germany, etc., is divided by the Northern Sea. And these birds are not able to travel the other side, the other side. But the same birds were able, the same species of birds at the other side were able to, they began to do the same.
Yeah, he has a term for it.
With monkeys and morphology or something.
Morphic resonance.
Yeah, morphic resonance.
And what he believes is that when one member of the species attempts to learn something, it becomes far easier for other members of the species, even that are separated by vast distances, to learn that. And I think He said that occurred with rats in a very particular maze, that they would teach rats how to get through a particular maze in one part of the world, and then rats in the other part of the world navigated it much quicker. There's some interesting stuff when it comes to that stuff. I mean,
Interesting.
it is interesting, but it's hard because there's a lot of people call bullshit, and I don't know who's right. And you got to kind of go over it with a fine-tooth comb and look at their motivations and look at whether or not they're biased, and it's very difficult to sort out. But Rupert seems like a very thoughtful, very interesting guy. He definitely didn't seem dishonest.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm here to say a little bit about what we did.
Tell me,
up
please.
Till since last year. So the goals now are to get it into national healthcare. Actually, in every country, but America is a little bit a leader therein, and I'm beginning to become quite famous. I use it, abuse it to get my goals done, my mission done, which is bringing belief, confidence, love, but now scientifically endorsed, showing that we are able to tap into all those systems, and we should actually get it in school, in primary school to begin with, and not only learn like history and geography and things like that, but now learn at a very young age how to influence into this hormonal system and immune system, or say happiness, strength, health should be subjects. And I teach kids of 4 years old with arthritis. They come and they are very able to do breathing exercises, going into the cold. Actually, children, we teach them to have coats on, and therefore taking away the stimulation of the natural elements, thus decreasing the effectivity of their systems inside. We make them sick instead of protecting them. We are comforting them, and we think that paradigm shift needs to happen. And I'm into that. And now it's getting together with the existent healthcare and with universities more and more. I think we got to go back to, say, nature, and if a mother is able to guarantee by endorsed by scientific evidence that we are able to tap into all these systems, guaranteeing, hey, if you just breathe better and take a cold shower and believe, connect with your body, that you are able to tap into your health, your happiness, and your strength, then that's something that will bring Mother Nature back in us, and awareness there from will make this world value the nature outside as inside, because we lost the connection. And I'm now here to bring that, and since last year I've progressed. And, you know, things like anxiety and fear nobody knows about. Now I do know what it is. I know what it is biochemical and neurological. I talk with professors. I teach them. They teach me their language, and I teach them the method. And together we get more out of it. It's all happening. So I'm very thankful to be here with you. I still got a joke.
A joke?
Yes.
More,
I wanted to
other
say
than
this.
the big asshole joke?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, a little bit.
I'm thankful to have you here too. I really am. I'm very appreciative. There's not a whole lot of people that I'll do a late night podcast with, but you, anytime.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks. That's great. I must say, and it did me good. My podcast with you, so many people. I didn't know who you were. I never give a fuck who I go to. But when I get there and it starts, my mirror is the people who are commenting. I never look.
Yeah.
I'm never looking where I go now. Blah, blah, blah. I never go with a program. I don't know they never give me too much information either. Those are my children, and they work with me. No, they think, daddy, let him go.
Well, I'm curious to see what the response is this time, because the difference in the numbers is staggering. Like, what was the monthly downloads last year? Just take a guess.
Probably like 15, 18 million.
Now it's well over 40.
Yeah.
Shit.
Plus YouTube.
Shit.
Yeah, it'll be way more. It's more than double.
That's good. That's good, because all the world needs to know about this. This is simple, accessible, effective, scientifically endorsed, no speculation. It's there. But now, still, I got this joke. I wanted to say that.
Okay.
That's, I'm with Joe. And I know now, you said a comedian before, so you can appreciate this. I got a joke. And he's big. He's enormous. He is orange. It's an orangutan.
An orange orangutan.
Yes, in the middle of San Francisco.
Oh.
San Francisco or Los Angeles. We are here in a big city. I mean,
an orangutan in a big city.
You don't see orangutans in the city.
Unless you go to the zoo, right?
I don't know where maybe he escaped or whatever.
Okay.
Or he traveled incognito and with a hat on and
right.
A suit. Big suit must be been. But he walks over there. And the sun is shining, and it's shining on his long orange hair.
I thought he was going to say dick.
Yeah, but wait a minute. It still has to come.
Shush, you over there.
Yeah.
Told you not to give him beer. He's like a gremlin.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't know how to control it.
He's just not on
his chemistry.
He's not on audio.
Okay. And so he's dripping, this endocrine system is dripping along his orange hairs, and it's flickering together with the sun. It looks like, wow, it's enormous. And the light is upon it, and he walks along among the street, and big lips, big cheeks. Big claws, very peaceful. He has no enemy. He's there just by being himself. And he sees this bar. And he in his mind pops up just this, a golden beer. And he sees it. Within, he's already dripping from his lips. It's coming down. He goes to the door. He's got quite some difficulty to get through the door because he's so big. Really squeezes himself through the door. And there he sees a stool. He goes to the stool, and he's really big. And the stool is only so big. So he's into a balancing act, not to fall through. So big he is. But finally he gets there, and he accomplishes this balancing act, and he's there. He's at ease. And of course, the barman, he fled into a corner somewhere. He's at ease. Hey, you have a beer? Hey. So, he's at ease. He's peaceful.
He's at ease.
Yes, he's peaceful.
He talks to the bartender.
Yeah,
he wants a beer. Does he have money, or is he just stealing this beer?
I don't know. He has no pockets, but he has got money. Okay. I don't know where he stashed it, but it's there.
Okay.
It's there, all right. And the barman, he's very peaceful, the orangutan, so his fear is subsiding, and he comes and still, and then he gives it to him like this.
Right.
And he gets a big claw around this little glass. Or golden beer, liquid, looking at it. Like a little baby. He's really enjoying it, man. And then he puts it back, and he puts $100 bill on the bar, on the tap.
He's a baller.
Yeah, and $100. And now, suddenly, the barman thinks, well, because he is very peaceful, he is there, he enjoyed his beer. Hey, he's got $100. I think I'm going to give him back a shiny coin because he doesn't know about the significance of money. And he gives him the shiny coin, and he takes the $100 bill, and I don't know where he puts it because he's got no pockets, but he puts it somewhere. He looks at it and puts it somewhere, and then he sits there, and finally the barman got his confidence so much. He asks him, hey, what about this? I never, ever saw a orangutan in my bar. What is it? And the orangutan said, do you know what kind of prices you are charging? And that's the punchline. And the thing is, this is the way we think we can mess up with and trick our inner power. Whoa. We are strong, man, but we always think better about who we are in the depth. And he is there for you to enjoy life and to be there strong as Mother Nature.
In the future,
yes,
I would just recommend just tightening that up a little bit.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of a funny joke. It's kind of funny. I knew what was coming towards the end, but I'm a professional comedian.
Yes,
so I knew the joke.
Okay.
But
you knew the joke.
Well, I knew at the end. I don't even think I'd heard it before, but I knew what you were going to say.
I always extend. I think, and I use it as a metaphor because that's no joke. That's real.
What's real?
The way we trick with our mind, we think we can trick Mother Nature inside, our deeper power, our inner power.
Okay, I get it. It was a little shorter, probably better, right, Jamie? Yeah. I mean, it was not a bad joke.
Nah,
the big asshole joke's a little better.
I think so too.
Yeah. I watched an elephant hit a guy with his trunk. I kind of knew that elephants' trunks were powerful. I mean, I always knew, but I had no idea. Like, this guy got too close to an elephant, and the elephant was eating, and it just swatted him with its trunk, and he went flipping, like head over heels, head over heels, head over heels. It was hilarious. He knocked that thing the way you would flip a beer bottle. Just dunk.
Yeah.
With its trunk. Amazing. You just the epic scale of those animals is just unbelievable. When you see the amount of force that they can generate with their nose. Do you see it? Yeah, put it up. Jamie his eyes went wide, his head snapped back when he saw this. Watch this. This guy got too close.
Shit,
Watch this. He goes to touch it. Boom.
That
guy got fucking cracked. He's lucky he's still conscious. Yeah, he didn't give a fuck. He's like, bitch, get out of here. He's like, you're bothering me. I think it's a female elephant, too. It didn't even have tusks.
Wow.
It's a female or a juvenile.
But where we are on to right now with this
research,
with these findings out of nature, next time I will get some new breakthroughs.
Yeah?
Yeah. And we have to see each other again.
Once a year. Let's do every October.
Yeah. Once
Fuck it. I mean, we didn't even plan it. Let's make a deal.
Right
make a deal. October. Let's do it.
Great.
And we'll bring that guy in and have him do 80 push-ups. That fuck.
Yeah.
I don't buy that at all.
Oh, yeah.
I found a free diving message board, and there's some people that were asking. It's the only thing I found on the entire internet. Some guy claimed he did 72 after taking that Jack 3D stuff.
With one breath?
After taking a 5-minute breathing exercise and then no breaths, and he did 72. A couple of people said they did like 40 or 50. Breathing would have helped, a similar method to this, but they weren't talking about that at all.
Yeah, I have a feeling your friend might be a little full of shit. It just doesn't, as an athlete, as someone who understands the potential of the human body, you have to be extraordinary. You have to be pretty extraordinary to do 80 push-ups on your own. You have to be conditioned. It's like something like just to force your muscles, depending upon how much you weigh, of course. But if you're the average 175-pound or whatever the average man is, just to force yourself to do 80 push-ups, you have to be in pretty good condition to do that. That's a lot of repetition. You're essentially, I mean, it's not like you're bench pressing 175 pounds, but it's probably like you're bench pressing 140. Like, how much would you think it would be? Like a push-up. How much are you actually pushing up? Say if I weigh 200 pounds, if I'm doing a push-up, how much am I actually pushing? Because I'm not really pushing 200 pounds because my feet are on the ground and, there's some weight down there. How much am I actually pushing? It feels like I'm pushing about 130, 140 pounds when I do a push-up.
What is that, like 60, 70% of your body weight probably? Something close to that, I guess.
Well, why don't you Google?
I was going to try to Google something like that.
Yeah, Google what percentage of your body weight are you actually lifting when you do a push-up?
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's definitely not 100.
Let's analyze it. And I really began with these push-ups. Now everybody is, of course, copying, and I know what that's all okay. But I like research. I like to investigate what we are really doing.
Yeah, here we go. 49%. Okay, a regular push-up, you lift 64% of your body weight, whereas with a knee push-up, no knee push-up. So a regular push-up, 64% of your body weight. So for me, it's a little over 100, what is that, 110, something like that?
200 pounds?
Yeah.
So it'd be
114, right? 64. Is that right?
128.
128? Okay, so I was pretty close.
64%.
So I was pretty close. I was thinking it was like 130, 140.
Just double the 64.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, that makes sense.
Nice.
So that's what I thought. I can't do 80 push-ups. I can't do 80 push-ups as breathing. At least I don't think I can. I don't do push-ups that much. I bench press heavier weights, and I do a lot of other stuff. Well, you're scaring me with that breathing. You can't even help it. Your breathing so powerful. You just... I can't even do that. What are you doing there? Oh, that's it. It's the nose. What's the world record push-ups? How many think the world record in a row? I bet it's like 300.
There's one, that's for without leaving push-up position.
Yeah.
In 1980, somebody did it 3,072 times. For women, it's 302.
What?
Yeah.
3,000?
I mean, you can stay there all day. There's no time limit on that.
Oh, so you can go down and rest and then push yourself
You
back
could hold
up?
yourself up probably even for like an hour if you wanted to.
Jesus
I'll show you the
Christ.
records, though.
What about in a row? What about consecutive? No rest.
There was records like in an hour.
Is there consecutive?
Most push-ups nonstop is 10,500.
Jesus fucking Christ. Holy shit.
Some revelation going on, eh?
Oh my God. What kind of a fucking freak does 10,000 push-ups?
Here's,
Oh, but wait a minute. Look at what they're defining as push-ups.
oh, well, that's like,
Look at their push-ups. They don't go all the way down, those
I don't-
fucks.
no, if this is what they were counting. This is details in that guy.
You got away with words, man.
They're going halfway. You got to touch your chin. The world record.
There's no picture.
So it's defined, though. It's defined by a specific degree of bend in your arms.
What counts as a push-up?
Yeah. It's essentially when your upper arm is 90 degrees. It's when your upper arm is parallel to the ground,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it said.
Yeah. And your lower arm is straight up and down.
So
Huh.
3,800 an hour, 3,877.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy. That guy probably couldn't even tie his fucking shoes the next day. Probably tore himself apart. We went to, we should get Wim Hof together with Louis Simmons.
How about that?
Do you know who Louis Simmons is?
No, not yet.
Louis Simmons is a madman. He's the guy, he's a very famous power lifter. And every single part of his body has been broken. He's in his 60s, and he's been on steroids since 1970. There's Louis Simmons.
Oh.
He has no biceps. I think in this picture, he probably still had biceps. It seems like they're still there. His biceps have torn off of the bone.
Whoa.
If he lifts his arms over his head, he blacks out because he's so damaged. He has so much neck and tissue damage. He's a fucking maniac. What a character he is, though. We interviewed him last month. We went to his gym. He's a really, really famous powerlifter. He's actually a genius when it comes to the construction of exercise equipment. We have one of his pieces of equipment in the back. It's called a reverse hyper. That damn thing changed my life. I'll show it to you afterwards. You can see it. It actively decompresses the spine. See, that's the lifting up. But on the lifting down, it goes under, the weight goes underneath that bench, and it actually pulls apart your spine. It decompresses the spine, so all of the gravity and the stress and all the different...
Amazing.
There you can see how it works. So it's an amazing piece of equipment, and Louis invented that. She's got some great ideas about powerlifting, but he's just, like many brilliant people, he's fucking insane.
Yeah.
In a great way.
Yeah.
But anyway, you and him together, maybe you could fix him. Get him breathing. He wouldn't. He'd just start swearing and throwing shit around, do some steroids, and move it around, lift some shit.
Great. So, there I am, man. I had a lot more facts going on. Really are progressing with the science and becoming more famous, and we are reaching out more and more. Very powerful people, famous people are beginning to get the idea, and they will help me in the end. I want to do charity because I did already the breakthroughs within the science, and now I want to do charity.
That's
charity,
awesome.
Yes, like we were talking about Tanzania and the reserves, and the Maasai. And the Maasai, before, they were the men who are able to stand off a lion. Mm-hmm. So they are dealing with fear. They become, a lion is able to smell fear in animals. Like that's reactive. It's it's our hormones, but people have it as well. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we go in cars through these reserves, etc. Now I found out that fear is actually coming in within us, subconscious fear, because we are not acting natural anymore. We alienate from nature, and we have fear. We are able to walk in the city with an attitude, etc., but do it now in front of a lion. Then you become fearful because you know you are not able to cope with that situation. And you have to be peaceful. You have to be there. But then the lion will not attack you. It only attacks when it's hungry and you can see things and all those things. But if you have no fear, you could just pass by a couple of meters from lions in the wild.
What?
Yes, and this is what I'm...
Who knows this?
Me and the Maasai.
Have you done it?
I'm with the Maasai.
Don't do it.
I'm with the Maasai, and I'm doing this. It's called the Garden of Eden project. That means with really wild animals like hyenas, elephants, giraffes, lions.
I want to show you a picture before you engage in this ridiculous adventure.
No.
There's a photo of there's a photographer that
Yes.
climbed out of his Jeep. Do you see that photo? Remember it was in the Daily Mail where there's a series of photographs where a lion was going to pounce on him. It literally jumped towards him and opened its mouth. And this guy got photos. I think it was inside of like 30 or 40 feet when the lion finally stopped. But they are some of the most terrifying photos. Photographer gets shots of lion when it almost attacked him. See if you can find it. I have them on my phone. I can show it to you.
Interesting.
It was my screensaver on my phone forever.
Interesting. But you see, another situation. People go in a Jeep through the safari and see the lions, about 12 of them lying there. And you go with the Jeep. And then suddenly comes a Maasai kid on his bike. And all the lions see him. And they...
There he is. Look at that face.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that.
Whoa, yeah.
Look at that thing.
Looks like the lycanthrope.
It's way scarier than a werewolf. You know why?
Yeah.
Because a lion is a lion every fucking day of the week. 365 days a year as long as it's alive. Yeah. A werewolf is only a werewolf one day a month.
Yeah.
Only on the full moon. That's a goddamn lion. Fuck a werewolf.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of funny because that's way scarier than a werewolf. It's way bigger than a werewolf.
Interesting.
Look at the face on that thing.
Yeah, man.
God, nature is amazing. Like, that is an amazing creation.
Interesting.
An amazing creature.
But the Maasai are able to stand off.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yes, but the thing is,
Jamie, what do you think? Look at that
thing is, I want them, to create agency with the Maasai together, and then have people walk through a reserve instead of a car under guidance of the Maasai,
under guidance of Navy SEALs armed to the tits.
Yes.
With fucking missile launchers and shit.
Yeah, you think so. That helps, but it is something else.
It definitely helps. That's the only way I'm going.
Okay.
going in a tank,
More
throwing
important.
tear gas.
More important. More. Yeah. Right on. I like it. More important is to help the homeless,
Yes.
and that's
How
why
are you going to help them?
we are, PTSD
Right.
and all that. We are into university studies right now, dealing with that. And about the homeless, say
You mean like homeless veterans,
like
things along
Tony
those
Robbins,
lines?
providing for like 100 million meals. I'm gonna help wherever I can, of course. I want to do more. Like there are these soup kitchens, and they don't ask money for your participation and have say a meal, but you can donate. So people who are homeless, they have no money.
Right.
So they are able to eat. And those who come there and have also a meal, they are not obliged to give money, but they give it anyway. And they see the idea behind it, the charity goal behind it. And most of the times they give okay money. And it survives. It's okay. It works. Now, I want these homeless people, and not only to have a soup kitchen like that, but also work on the land and providing, say, vegetables and all that for the restaurant and distribute as well in the city. I think this way we could, it's very, making them active, not just donating and giving food, but to get them back into the infrastructure, the system, the civilization among people.
Right.
That's it.
Well, if you could just get them active and give them some hope, right? There's a lot of people that just almost, I think there's levels of poverty and despair. And I think for some people, they're just like on the edge, and maybe just a little bit of help will bring them back off the edge and bring them back into circulation. You know, I mean,
that's
many people become homeless over time, and they weren't before, and then it just, things don't go well. And I know I have a bunch of comedian friends that lived in their cars and, you know, lived on people's couches and were real close to homeless, but made it through. So it's, I mean, there's various levels. And
strange thing that a thing called civilization. Eh?
yes, I mean, homeless is a very strange thing, right? Like you don't have a regular place to go. And that, in our mind, is like one of the saddest things. Like, oh, you don't have a place for your shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't have a place. How do you watch TV?
Yeah.
How do you get online?
Yeah.
Do you even have a Facebook? You're homeless?
Yeah.
You know, and that's how a lot of us look at it. We look at someone not having a home. Meanwhile, the homeless person, or this person who's like a backpacker or some, you know, person who's like a traveler, they might be way happier and healthier than a lot of people that you see trapped in these homes that are sitting there smoking cigarettes.
Absolutely. I mean, caring and sharing.
Yeah.
That is the thing missing.
It would certainly help a lot of people, right?
Yeah. And how to get there to that, you know, it's abstract now, but I'm getting it through science. But I did the science now.
Well, isn't it also
now
part
I want
of...
to do charity.
That's a great thing, man. That is great.
Yeah. And you're helping me right now.
I'm happy to be helping you. Don't you think it's maybe a little bit of our society is so competitive, and that competitive nature sort of alienates us from the other people around us? We think of them as competitors rather than think of them as our brothers and sisters. I think there's a lack of clarity when it comes to the actual real amount of time that we have here. We don't really have that much time. It seems like a lot of time, but I'm 49. How old are you?
57.
Yeah, it goes quick, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's, you know.
I'm still gonna go do fucking a whole
Of
lot,
course.
man.
No, I'm not saying you're not going to.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you're not going to, but
it's going fast.
It's going fast.
But we broke through, and what you did is also very memorable, commemorable. It's good. We got to bring more consciousness, and if we are really strong, we protect the weak. And those who are not able to, we give love. We do it in our way.
Yes.
You do it by creating awareness. I do it by science and try to do now charity. And we got to head it on one way or another.
Through inspiration. I think that's another thing you're doing.
Yeah.
You're inspiring people to do something and take positive action. And that oftentimes is the best thing you could do. rather than to help them or to give them help, you're providing them with their own self-help.
Wow, I just came from San Francisco now to meet you here. I think, once again, honor, great.
Me too.
Good feel.
Feelings mutual.
Thanks very much. I saw homeless people
Yes.
over there, but big guys and looking good. And at a certain moment, I think,
San Francisco.
Why don't you do something about this?
San Francisco is infested with acceptance. They have too much acceptance. They've gone so far over the edge that they've made it easy for people to, just kind of fuck off and hang out on the street. And then there's also the very real problem of mental illness and homeless veterans, people, as you said before, that have PTSD. I mean, there's a wide spectrum of reasons for why people become homeless. But San Francisco is very accepting of it. It's the most accepting city I've ever been to when it comes to homeless people. But it's also one of the reasons why San Francisco is so great. Like, they're so open-minded. I lived there when I was a kid. I lived in San Francisco from age 7 to 11, and it was a different San Francisco. Because San Francisco now is all tech giants and billionaires and real estate
Silicon
prices.
Valley. I did things over there now.
Oh my God, real estate prices are insane.
Yeah,
I mean, San Francisco is
insane,
one of the most insane places in the world when it comes to real estate prices. When I was a kid, it was hippies, because when I was there, it was during the Vietnam War. And my stepdad was a hippie, my mom was kind of a hippie, and we lived in a hippie neighborhood. It was just hippies. It was weird. It was all gay and hippies. And it's not really like that anymore. Even the gay people, like, they're kind of getting pushed out. San Francisco is always kind of synonymous with gay people. It's not, I mean, it's more tech now than anything else, and just extraordinary wealth. But they still are very open-minded, very progressive. It's a very left-wing, sort of liberal kind of a town, which has its pluses and minuses,
Yeah.
It's just, the tolerance is excellent. It's really good. But when you have that many homeless people, like, something's not right. What is that thing? I mean, it would be very arrogant of me, without any work or investigation whatsoever, to try to give some sort of an explanation for what it is. But a lot of it's got to be connected to how liberal they are. They're so open-minded there, just accepting.
I think it is also, a problem throughout America. The difference between the real rich and the poor. And but they in Baltimore, for example, I saw a documentary lately about this is the shame of America, and they told it in the documentary and things like that. And now they do these programs with meditation and breathing in the schools, and they
in Baltimore.
Yes, in Baltimore, and they got a lot of success. Their mental state, their psyche is a lot better now. And just because of minding, and that's what we need to get into school.
Yeah.
In schooling, breathing, mindfulness.
Yeah, no, that would be an amazing thing for kids, for people. Baltimore Elementary School, Nix's detention for mindful meditation. Wow.
There you go.
That's amazing.
And children are very able to do that.
That can change lives.
Oh, yes.
That can truly change lives, because you can give a child, instead of this horrible thing where they feel terrible about themselves, you give them a reset.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Well,
we need more out-of-the-box thinking, because the standard thinking of raising kids, I mean, I don't know what school's like in Holland, where you're from, but here in America, where I went to school, it was terribly confining. Like, you had to think a certain way, you have to study certain things, if you weren't interested in those things, they made you feel like a loser. If you weren't interested in math, it was boring to you to study certain things, they made you feel like you were a fool and you were never going to make
studies, it. No, the most important essence of life, happiness, strength, and health.
Well, also
they should be subjects in the school. Boom, bang.
And embracing creativity. Embracing creativity as an option for you doing something with your life. No one ever tells you that you could be creative for a living, that you could be a sculptor or a painter or an artist or a musician or a stand-up comedian or an author. That's never offered up. You have to get a job. You have to get a job. You have to work for somebody else or start your own business and hire some people. I mean, it's like, if you look at the standard places that people go once they graduate from high school or college. It's usually to get a job, so they push you in that direction. Like this, there's no individual attention. You don't feel unique. You don't feel special. You don't feel like you have a chance of making it outside the system. You have to fit into the system that they're presenting to you. These are your college courses. These are your college options. You know, your GPA is not so good, so you're going to have to go here, and that's going to suck because then your job options are going to be limited. Or you can go to a community college and try to bring it up, and you're like, oh my God, all this fucking work, and then I'm going to take a job that's going to suck, and it's just soul-sucking for me. I mean, for some people, those options seem like a wonderful idea. But they don't offer you a lot of choices. There's not like the creative fields are not embraced, and I think that's a real problem because many kids. I have little
Creativity
kids.
is the means to express the soul's purpose.
Well, they know
and
how to
there's
play.
only 7% in the world population that is being creative.
Is that real?
Yeah, the rest is into this system.
That's crazy.
Almost, you know.
But 100% of little children are creative.
It's sodomizing the soul. It's not letting the soul express itself. I mean, the soul, nobody knows what it is, but creativity, expressing your being, that makes the world so beautiful, actually. And now it's becoming like a gray area, feeding a system, and nobody knows how to stop this. Or what? This system needs to turn around and begin to look. How can we serve your happiness, strength, and health? Because strong, healthy, and happy people will make up a great system. We have gone too far. Now we need to come back into self-awareness, and we are proving this. Simply that we are able to do so much more therein.
Well, I think there's just a lot of momentum that is attached to our education system and to our job options once we graduate from school. And this momentum is very difficult to someone to step away from because most of the time, by the time someone graduates from college, you're already in debt. You are in debt from credit cards. You're in debt from student loans.
Money.
And you have to make money in order to pay that debt off. Yeah. And so you immediately go right into the workforce. And then if you're tired after working all day, and most people find it very difficult to find a way to break free and to pursue their real dreams, whatever they are, you know, songwriting or
it is so.
Being an author, being Wim Hof.
I had to find my way.
Yeah, what did you used to do for a living?
All kinds of things.
Like what?
I've been a teacher and
what'd you teach?
A postman, English, yoga.
You taught yoga?
Yes.
No kidding.
Oh, I know stuff. You just do all kinds of exercises.
Well, I've seen some of the crazy poses you can get into. I imagine you teach yoga. Say
mountaineering instructor or going into mountain guiding, canyoning, all those things. Postman, working in a harbor. The harbor. You know, ships.
Harbor.
Unloading ships. Harbor. Many things. Wherever I could lay my hands on, because I didn't finish any schooling. I'm a self-made man. I speak many languages, but I all taught them myself and learned a lot about philosophy.
What language do you speak?
Right now, English, besides of my own language, Dutch, but then also French and German and Polish and Spanish and Italian.
Wow.
And even Japanese.
And you speak those languages as well as you speak English?
No, because you need to practice.
Right.
You do not use it, you lose it, sort of.
Right.
But it's all in there.
So your primary is English and Dutch? Or
English,
Dutch first, right?
Yes, and then German, Spanish, then French.
That's amazing. And you learn these from books?
Yes, books and talking to people.
Just talking?
Yes.
Wow, but what about the grammar?
Nose codes.
I would imagine the difference between...
You take up books once, you begin to understand a couple of languages, you know the logic of the languages.
Right.
And it becomes easier to take up a language.
What did you want to do?
What I wanted to do is...
Like when you were a young
I'm
guy.
doing right now.
Really?
Yes, I was really looking up to people.
18 years old, 19 years old, and you're a young man.
Really, I was into changing the world. I was so far out doing crazy stuff.
Like what?
From 17 years on, I began to go into the cold, being inspired by anthropologists who went into Tibet and talked about the Gedumo discipline, the Buddhist, the esoteric disciplines of the of Buddhism, and they call cities within the yoga and all those
cities, SITI, like cities of levitation.
Yes, and all those things,
Okay.
and Japan and the samurai and Budo Toi. All that, I was very, very intrigued. Why? Because I think they found a way to show that the depth is existent. But it takes years. And you got to go like a caveman and isolate to become a guru or an adept into these yogic practices. And it's all very secretive and things like that. And I was looking into that. And why? I think it has got something to do with my birth. It was traumatic. It was one of the identical twin. And I was born quite too late. Not really too late, but it made a real psychic imprint when I came without too much of oxygen.
So there was some fear and trauma.
And too cold in a place. And I was delivered over there. So I think that made a psychic imprint, which had a absolute influence in my growing, and then later, what's happening? I always have been looking into psychology, different disciplines, religions, etc. I'm always more interested than my identical twin brother. He's actually a normal guy, working like 9 to 5, like everybody.
Maybe you could get him to play you in some places when you can't get there.
We had these things going.
Does he grow his hair like you?
No.
You guys got to meet in the middle.
It's quite, we did tricks. We did tricks because we look so much like each other. And if he wanted to have, even we could trick our mother.
What about girlfriends?
Girlfriend?
No comment. Did you do you guys have the same amount of gray in your beard and the whole deal? Like if you stand next to each other?
No, he's different now.
What does he look like?
He's more bald than I am.
More stress.
But I think more stress,
Yeah.
yes.
Does he exercise?
Exercise, yeah. But he took up a lot of what I am doing. But I really, in my mind, I go a lot further than he is able to.
And that's interesting that you correlate that with your birth, that you were born after him, and that there was some trauma involved and danger.
Yes.
Some stress.
So, this absolutely. It made a psychic imprint, and later my life, I began to look into that. And, the first time I went into this cold water, I had this connection with that trauma. Because no other way gave me this connection with this deep trauma, and I didn't know where it was, who inflicted it, or my mother told me later, and then it made sense to me. Oh, that's why I like it in the cold, and because I was born in the cold, almost suffocated. That's why I do these breathing exercises and feel good. Finally, I'm able to tap into that traumatic imprint and change the chemistry at will, controlled. And then I found out I was able to do so much more because now I was able to do it consciously. And from there, I got into the television, and then I got into the science, and it appears to be that I found also a way to tap into what we call, trauma, PTSD, emotion, fear, depression, and not only that, autoimmune diseases, possibly cancer. We still got to find out, of course, but I think nature's got the solutions for us. But you need to go back into nature, and the nature is all inside. We all got the faculties, the abilities to wake them up and to bring them within our control. And now we have shown that scientifically, within a couple of days, you are able to tap in all those systems. How far we can go still needs time.
What do you think about the effect of modern civilization, traffic, just stress and pollution, environmental pollution, the air, things like that? What kind of an effect do you think that has on?
Absolutely wrong effect. Chemical deregulation, biochemical deregulation up till the DNA. Bam. So epigenetical, not only genetically, but during the life, you talk about epigenetics. We are able to influence into the genome structure of the DNA. But with the existence, smog, stress, negative thoughts and radiation of things, and I don't know, all these, we mess up the chemistry. We are dealing with chemistry, and we eat food which is now not really food anymore. And we are built with our systems are able to do with natural food and natural tribal being, like taking care of each other, brothers and sisters, like tribal. That's the way. And what we do now is competition, creating a whole lot of stress, uncontrolled, getting on us all the time. Why? To serve a system instead of happiness, strength, and health. It's not being served anymore. Everybody running behind his deadline, and then on top of that, we get food, which is messed with. So we create a lot of difficulties for our physiology that works back on our brain because it's a piece of meat inside, and it's just working on biochemics, and we are messing with that. So what I found in nature is actually a shortcut to learn to cleanse all the pollution, creating a wrong chemistry, creating deregulation of the DNA, and causing the body not to be able to deal with, say, disease, sickness, and depression, and all these things.
Do you live in nature? Like, where do you live? Do you live in a city?
Right now, I live in a little village.
Little village, small town?
Yes. But
so not too stressful.
It does not matter. I can live anywhere.
You can live in New York City?
Absolutely, yes.
But wouldn't you freak out? All the bam, fuck you.
Oh, no.
Break dust?
No. I used to sit as a exercise on the middle of the square of the one most trafficked squares of a big city in the Netherlands, which is Amsterdam, and just meditate on the square.
Huh.
And with all the cars coming, going, road, you do, boom, 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 boom. And actually, I had a great time.
Really?
Yes.
So you used it as like an exercise?
Yes, sir. Like a stressor. Come on.
Yeah. So all that chaos and madness, you found your peace inside of all that.
You really are able to distance therefrom and witness how it works on your systems, your nervous system. And the nervous system then is able to deal with that. And you become so tranquil. And the more it tries to get to you, these are also exercises of yogis. They sit with 4 fires around them, or in the cold, what I also did and all that. The extremes are, it's extremely great, the feeling which derives if you just witness and let go, interfering in the systems, working with the impact of what is going on, which could be stress in any way.
So you find your own inner peace amidst all that noise.
And that's the way our mind can work.
That's what I do when my wife tells me boring stories. I don't even listen. I just go into my center.
Kadang.
And I have to, pay attention to the inflection that might indicate a question.
God damn it. I mean,
you gotta wait.
Women.
And when that comes, and I go, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Women can be very stressful. They know you.
So can men. I hate to date a man.
Track you down.
Women are way better than men in that regard. I think men are probably more stressful, especially if you're banging them, right?
Yeah.
Jamie, you know what I'm talking about.
I love them. I love my wife. I love
All
my
right.
girlfriend.
Take my wife, please. But it's a Henny Youngman joke. So,
Easy does it.
what else is going on? Is
Yeah,
that it? Should we wrap this up? You got more to tell us?
No. It's all about love, and it was very lovable to be here. I feel no stress whatsoever. I did my shit, but there's a whole lot more coming. But I think the gist of it has been discussed, has been gotten out, and it is life so interesting, so beautiful. I thank you for you being a big window for so many. And
I thank you for being a part of it. It means a lot to me to have you come back on. It means a lot to me to be able to share like a lot of your ideas with the world and give you a platform. And I think what you're doing is amazing. It's incredible. It's not just incredible because it's so effective and it's so scientifically proven. It's also incredible because it's so rare that there's not that many people doing this. And if there are, they're not talking about it the way you are, and they're not subjecting themselves to scientific research. And I think that's one of the more amazing things about it. Because just like that guy, what was your friend's name? Scott Carney, is that what his name was?
Yeah, Scott Carney.
He, of course, you hear these stories and you probably assume that you're some sort of a guru, crazy person running a cult. But then he gets to meet you and he goes, oh, this is one of the rare real deals. There's not a lot of real deals out there. There's not a lot of people who are really living an extraordinary life. And you, Wim Hof, are living an extraordinary life.
Wow, that's great. And as long as people like you and me and everybody who is in the same realm exist, we help the ones who are
and it helps
not.
Us. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The poor and the weak who are not able to do. We are the strong men. And the American natives, they got you are being measured by the way you give. And that means not money. It means love. It means effectiveness for children to feel no stress and grow up for being great human beings. Because being a human being should be something very, very beautiful on this beautiful planet.
Yeah, I agree, man. I try to express to people that these shows would not be possible if people weren't listening. I wouldn't do them. Nobody would be willing to. It's kind of an interesting thing about podcasts because I couldn't just get you to come here and just sit and talk to me and nobody else would hear for hours and hours. The actual mechanism of doing a podcast, the act of doing a podcast allows me to listen to these people like you and all these other interesting people that I'm so lucky to get to talk to.
Very good.
So I benefit from it tremendously, but it wouldn't exist without other people listening. So the fact that people are listening is what makes me have these things in the first place.
We thank the people who are listening right now from our heart.
Yes. Absolutely,
Boom.
absolutely. If it wasn't for them, like that sounds so cliche. Hey, if it wasn't for you guys, we couldn't do it. But there would be no reason. There wouldn't be no motivation. If it wasn't for people listening, there would be no show. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't exist. I would never have met you. I've never met all the extraordinary people that I've met. I'm
very eager to see what this is gonna do. Because the last time I met you and afterwards, I hear Joe Rogan everywhere since then. So I came here now. Well, I'm gonna go to Joe Rogan, but then at a certain moment, the expectation heaviness fell off. I'm just gonna say my thing.
Yeah,
I'm being light with him.
Just have a good time, like last time.
And I had,
and we did. We had a great time.
I think. Oh yeah,
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. It was great.
You've become friends with my friend Chris Ryan.
Oh yeah, hey.
Oh, that's his shirt. That's right.
His shirt, man.
Civilized to death.
Civilized to death. Yeah.
I love Chris. He's awesome. I do a podcast with him and Duncan Trussell. We call it the Shrimp Parade. We do it, it's just like, it's completely informal. Like, we'll do one episode of my podcast, and we'll do one episode of Duncan's, one episode of Chris's, and we just sort of rotate back and forth between each other when Chris is in town. But Chris was living in Barcelona for a little bit, but now he's back. So we're going to do one soon. But he loves you too. He had a great time with you.
Yeah. I just had a podcast with him, say, a week ago or something, together with Professor, I don't remember his name.
Well, his
but it was
podcast
great.
for people who want to listen, it's called Tangentially Speaking, and it's available on iTunes, and it's available on, is it chrisryan.com? Is that his, drchrisryan.com maybe?
ChrisRyanPhD.com.
chrisryanphd.com. I think that's also his Twitter handle, and Chris is awesome.
He's a great storyteller.
He's a brilliant guy, and he also has a great book.
Yeah.
What is it?
About the sex, the sex of dawning of sex.
What is it called? Sex at Dawn. Yeah.
Sex at dawn.
Yeah, it's a great book.
I think
so
you
good
can
that
do
my
it
friend's wife threw it in the
anytime.
garbage. It's so good, my friend's wife threw it in the garbage. She started reading it. And she goes, "You are not reading this," and she chucked it in the trash.
Yeah, I do not agree really with this sexual, explanations about how it went and why we have these urges, like from the prehistorics.
You don't agree? He's a scientist.
Yeah. He's
What
a
do you think?
scientist.
What do you disagree with?
Right now we have a ability to consciously choose our woman. And in this world, it's not about going and spread your seed everywhere. No, just be with one woman consciously. In 50
but that's
years.
not really what he's saying. What he's saying, he's sort of trying to explain the
Yes, I know.
the origins of these urges, and
I think he's very intelligent, and what he does is great work because he wakes up a whole lot of people.
it's very controversial, but it's very rooted in science.
He's got this story with his cat.
A cat?
Yeah, making sex with the cat.
He had sex with a cat?
Yeah.
Did he tell that story?
No,
I feel like he did tell that story.
Not really.
Like he got a boner around his cat?
Not really that one.
Something.
But we're figuring out what the cat sexuality was all about.
That's right. That's right.
I did it always with my dogs.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Should end the show 5 minutes ago.
On the leg and all that. I mean, we
They would
all
hump your
do.
leg?
Humping.
Dogs will hump
and
your
things.
leg.
Yes. Because we want to find out. There should be no taboo on sex. We should have proper education therein.
Yes, we have a real problem in America.
Suppress
specifically with
sexual behavior.
Yes.
And then it gets into these perverted ways anyway, because it's power, and it is not able to grow into love.
Yes. And that should be how we end this.
Yeah.
Don't suppress shit. Be loving.
Yes, sir.
Rock on, Wim Hof.
Right on.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Always. We're going to do it again next October.
Yes, sir. Pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Good night.